100 law terms. Contract, a legal agreement between two or more people that the law can enforce. For example, you agree to pay a tutor, and the tutor agrees to teach you. It's like a promise written down and protected by law. Liability, legal responsibility for something, especially damage or loss. For example, if you break someone's phone, you may have liability to pay for it. It's like being responsible for cleaning up a mess you made. Negligence, failure to take reasonable care, causing harm to someone. For example, a driver texting and causing an accident. It's like leaving a candle unattended and allowing the flame to spread. Evidence, information used to prove or disprove facts in court. For example, photos, messages, or witness statements. It's like puzzle pieces that show the full picture. Verdict, the final decision made by a court or jury. For example, guilty or not guilty in a criminal trial. It's like the closing chapter of a long story. Jurisdiction, the legal power of a court to hear a case. For example, a UK court handling a case that happened in England. It's like knowing which teacher is allowed to mark your work. Plaintiff, the person who brings a case to court. For example, someone suing for unpaid wages, the person who starts a complaint. Defendant, the person being accused or sued. For example, someone accused of breaking a contract, the person answering a complaint. Appeal, a request to review a court decision. For example, asking a higher court to reconsider a sentence. It's like asking for a remark on an exam. Breach of contract, failure to follow the terms of a contract. For example, not paying rent as agreed. It's like breaking a promise. Damages, money paid to compensate for loss or injury. For example, compensation after an accident. A repayment for something broken. Statute, a law passed by Parliament. For example, road traffic laws. It's like official rules written in a handbook. Precedent, a past court decision used to guide future cases. For example, judges following earlier rulings. It's like building a new house on an existing foundation. Testimony, a statement given by a witness in court. For example, describing what you saw during an accident. It's like telling your side of a story. Injunction, a court order telling someone to stop or start doing something. For example, ordering a neighbor to stop loud construction. It's like a legal pause button. Bail, money paid to allow temporary release from custody. For example, paying bail before a trial. It's like a deposit for good behavior. Arbitration, resolving disputes outside court using a neutral person. For example, business disagreements settled privately. It's like asking a trusted referee to decide. Mediation, a process where a mediator helps people reach agreement. For example, divorce settlements with a mediator. It's like a peacekeeper in an argument. Affidavit, a written statement sworn to be true. For example, a signed document describing events, like a written oath. Custody, legal responsibility for caring for a child. For example, deciding where a child lives after divorce. It's like having formal responsibility recognized by law. Intellectual property, legal rights over creations and ideas. For example, copyright on music. It's like placing a protective frame around your original ideas. Copyright, protection for creative works. For example, protecting books and songs. It's like locking your artwork. Trademark, protection for brand names and logos. For example, company logos. It's like a business signature. Probation, a period of supervision instead of prison. For example, regular check-ins with an officer. It's like being trusted, but closely monitored. Sentence, punishment decided by a court. For example, community service or prison time. It's like the final consequence. Subpoena, a legal order to attend court. For example, being required to testify. It's like receiving a formal summons that requires your presence. Litigation, the process of taking legal action. For example, a long court dispute. It's like a formal argument. Settlement, an agreement that ends a dispute. For example, accepting compensation instead of trial. It's like shaking hands after a disagreement. Confidentiality, keeping information private. For example, doctors protecting patient records. It's like locking away secrets. Due process, fair treatment through legal procedures. For example, having a proper trial. It's like playing by the rules. Tort, a civil wrong that causes harm to someone. For example, injuring someone through careless behavior. It's like hurting someone without meaning to. Defamation, false statements that damage a person's reputation. For example, spreading untrue rumors, staining someone's name. Libel, written defamation. For example, posting false claims online. It's like harmful words in ink. Slander, spoken defamation. For example, telling lies about someone. It's like poisonous whispers. Consent, permission given freely. For example, agreeing to share personal data. It's like saying yes, clearly. Capacity, legal ability to make decisions. For example, adults signing contracts. It's like being mature enough to choose. Indemnity, protection against loss. For example, insurance covering damages. It's like a financial safety net. Waiver, giving up a legal right. For example, signing a gym liability form. It's like signing away your chance to complain later. Covenant, a formal legal promise. For example, rules in property agreements. It's like a serious vow. Lien, a right to keep property until a debt is paid. For example, a garage keeping a car until payment. It's like placing an item on pause until the debt is cleared. Trust, property managed for someone else's benefit. For example, money held for a child. It's like safekeeping for the future. Executor, person who manages a will. For example, distributing inheritance. It's like carrying out someone's final instructions. Will, a document stating wishes after death. For example, leaving property to family. It's like a last letter of instructions. Estate, all property owned by a person. For example, homes and savings. It's like your life's collection. Probate, legal process of handling a will. For example, confirming inheritance. It's like checking final paperwork. Habeas corpus, right to challenge unlawful detention. For example, requesting a court hearing after arrest. It's like asking why you are locked in. Acquittal, being found not guilty. For example, cleared of charges. It's like being released from blame. Conviction, being found guilty. For example, sentenced after trial, like losing a case. Plea, formal response to charges. For example, pleading guilty or not guilty. It's like making your initial declaration before everything else follows. Parole, early release under supervision. For example, leaving prison with conditions. It's like freedom with rules. Search warrant, court order allowing police searches. For example, searching a house. It's like an official permission slip. Seizure, taking property by legal authority. For example, confiscating illegal items, removing something from your possession under legal order. Extradition, sending a suspect to another country. For example, returning a fugitive. It's like transferring responsibility back to the country that has authority. Immunity, protection from legal action. For example, witness immunity. It's like temporary legal shielding. Restitution, repayment for harm caused. For example, paying back stolen money. It's like making things right. Contempt of court, disrespecting court authority. For example, ignoring a judge's order. It's like breaking classroom rules. Due diligence, careful investigation before action. For example, checking a contract thoroughly. It's like double-checking your work. Escrow, money held by a third party. For example, house purchase deposits. It's like placing money in a waiting room. Power of attorney, authority to act for someone else. For example, managing finances for a relative. It's like legal permission to represent. Class action, a lawsuit by a group of people. For example, customers suing a company together. It's like standing up as a team. Mens rea, the mental element of a crime, referring to the intention or knowledge of wrongdoing when committing an act. For example, planning a theft shows intent, which satisfies mens rea. It's like the invisible thought behind an action. Actus reus, the physical act of committing a crime. It is the external conduct that the law prohibits. For example, taking someone's property without permission. It's like the visible movement that completes a harmful deed. Burden of proof, the obligation to prove a claim in court. In criminal cases, this burden rests on the prosecution. For example, the prosecution must prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. It's like carrying the responsibility to convince everyone in the room. Standard of proof, the level of certainty required to prove a case. Different cases require different standards. For example, beyond reasonable doubt in criminal cases, balance of probabilities in civil cases. It's like the height of a bar that must be cleared. Beyond reasonable doubt, the high standard of proof required in criminal trials. The jury must be almost certain of guilt. For example, clear and convincing evidence in a serious crime. It's like removing nearly all shadows of uncertainty. Balance of probabilities, the standard used in civil cases, meaning something is more likely than not. For example, winning a negligence claim if it is 51% likely to be true. It's like a scale tipping slightly to one side. Equity, a branch of law focused on fairness and justice, developed to soften strict legal rules. For example, granting an injunction where money alone is not enough. It's like a gentle correction to keep the law fair. Remedy, the legal solution provided when a right has been violated. For example, compensation or specific performance. It's like a repair after damage has been done. Specific performance, a court order requiring someone to fulfill their contractual promise. For example, ordering the sale of a unique property. It's like insisting that a promise be kept exactly as agreed. Vicarious liability, when one person is held responsible for the actions of another, usually in employment. For example, an employer liable for an employee's negligence at work. It's like being responsible for someone acting under your authority. Strict liability, liability without needing to prove intention or negligence. For example, certain regulatory offenses. It's like responsibility that exists regardless of fault. Nuisance, an unlawful interference with someone's use or enjoyment of land. For example, excessive noise from a neighboring property. It's like a disturbance that lingers beyond what is reasonable. Trespass, entering someone's land without permission. For example, walking onto private property without consent. It's like stepping across a boundary line without invitation. Consideration, something of value exchanged in a contract. For example, money paid for services. It's like the fuel that makes an agreement legally binding. Misrepresentation, a false statement that persuades someone to enter a contract. For example, selling a car while hiding known defects. It's like building trust on a false foundation. Duress, forcing someone into an agreement through threats or pressure. For example, signing a contract under intimidation. It's like agreeing with a shadow hanging over you. Undue influence, improper pressure exerted by someone in a position of trust. For example, manipulating a vulnerable person into changing a will. It's like quiet persuasion that overpowers free will. Estoppel, a principle preventing someone from going back on a promise if others relied on it. For example, a landlord promising reduced rent and later trying to demand full payment. It's like being held to your word when others have trusted it. Fiduciary duty, a legal obligation to act in another person's best interests. For example, a trustee managing funds responsibly. It's like guarding someone else's interests as carefully as your own. Public law, law governing relationships between individuals and the state. For example, judicial review of government decisions. It's like the rulebook for how power is exercised. Private law, law governing relationships between individuals. For example, contract and property disputes. It's like the framework for personal dealings. Judicial review, a process where courts examine decisions made by public bodies. For example, challenging an unlawful government decision. It's like checking that authority stays within its limits. Ratio decidendi, the legal reasoning behind a court's decision. For example, the principle that becomes binding precedent. It's like the backbone of a judgment. Obiter dictum, comments made by a judge that are not essential to the decision. For example, additional observations in a ruling. It's like thoughtful side notes in a larger story. Indictment, a formal charge for a serious crime. For example, charging someone with fraud. It's like officially opening a serious case. Mitigation, factors that reduce the severity of punishment. For example, showing remorse before sentencing. It's like softening the weight of a consequence. Aggravating factors, circumstances that increase the seriousness of an offense. For example, premeditation in a crime. It's like adding extra weight to a decision. Double jeopardy, the rule that prevents someone from being tried twice for the same offense. For example, being acquitted and not retried for the same crime. It's like closing a case permanently once decided. Alibi, evidence that someone was elsewhere when a crime occurred. For example, CCTV showing presence in another location. It's like a timestamp proving you were somewhere else. Forensic evidence, scientific evidence used in investigations. For example, DNA or fingerprint analysis. It's like science quietly speaking in court. Habeas data, a legal action that allows a person to access, correct, or control personal information held about them by public or private organizations. It is concerned with privacy and the proper handling of data. For example, requesting a company to provide the personal data they store about you and asking for errors to be corrected. It's like opening a filing cabinet that contains your name and making sure every page is accurate. Ultra vires, a Latin term meaning beyond the powers. It refers to actions taken by a person, company, or public authority that exceed the legal authority granted to them. For example, a local council making rules that it has no legal power to create. It's like stepping outside the lines drawn for your role. Bona fide, a Latin phrase meaning in good faith. It describes actions carried out honestly, without deception or intent to defraud. For example, purchasing goods without knowing they were stolen. It's like acting with clean hands and a clear conscience. Caveat emptor, a Latin expression meaning let the buyer beware. It places responsibility on buyers to examine goods carefully before purchase. For example, buying a second-hand car and later discovering faults that were visible at the time of sale. It's like being reminded to look closely before you leap. Force majeure, a contractual clause that frees parties from liability when extraordinary events beyond their control prevent performance. For example, natural disasters delaying construction projects. It's like pressing pause because of an unexpected storm. Quid pro quo, a Latin phrase meaning something for something. It refers to an exchange where one benefit is given in return for another. For example, providing services in exchange for payment. It's like a balanced trade where both sides give and receive. Pro rata, a method of dividing something proportionally according to a fair share. For example, refunding rent based on the number of days a tenant occupied a property. It's like slicing a cake evenly according to each person's portion. Injurious falsehood, a false statement made maliciously that causes financial loss to another person or business. It differs from defamation because it focuses on economic harm rather than reputation alone. For example, spreading false claims about a company's products to reduce its sales. It's like casting a shadow over someone's livelihood with untrue words. Constructive dismissal, a situation where an employee resigns because the employer has fundamentally breached the employment contract, making continued work unreasonable. For example, an employer drastically reducing pay without agreement, forcing resignation. It's like being pushed to the door rather than walking out freely. Legal personality, the recognition that an entity, such as a company, has rights and duties separate from the individuals who form it. It allows organizations to enter contracts and be sued in their own name. For example, a company owning property independently of its shareholders. It's like giving a business its own legal identity and voice.